Alright, what is going on YouTube? And today we got a brand new episode of Quickscoping for Christ. We got a brand new season of Black Ops 6, which has been an adjustment. I'll just say that. These first couple clips you see, like the first chunk as we go over the COD kind of news and update, are all clips that have been post Season 2 updates. All the snipers got an ADS nerf, so we've been adjusting to that. The Frost line is supposedly like the fastest, like, you know, best quote-unquote quickscoping sniper rifle, but I'm here to tell you that the Bear has still got it. You just have to get used to its, like, clunky, slower ADS now, and just deal with it kind of pre-aim, because the Frost line's got that scope wobble. No being the scope wobble, but if you want to try, I suggest using the Blandwell 7x scope, because it seems to be a little more manageable and a little more snappy with that for me. Or you can just muscle through it like QDogYT has. My brother, he's already kind of gotten the Frost line down. So make sure to go check him out in his Frost line gameplay on his channel if you are so interested in the Frost line. And then following that are the clips we hit on Black Ops 6 leading up to the Season 2. It's like the last week of the Squid Game season, and thank God that's gone too. But it has been an adjustment. It took us a couple days to get used to the new sniper's ADS, and I'm going to try to hit a clip with every single sniper rifle post-nerf, and it's a struggle for sure, but that ties in very nicely with today's Quickscoping for Christ message. We're going to do another kind of mini sermon today, bringing together a couple verses to back up the point, and we're going to be attacking being angry with God. And this is kind of a more advanced follower of Christ message. I've previously been doing very general advice because I really want to appeal to newer people in the faith, or people who are curious or even not curious, and kind of plant that seed of faith in them. And that's like a big idea of Quickscoping for Christ. But this one is a more for people more advanced in their faith, and it is addressing being upset with God or being angry with God, which is something that is more common than you think, especially as you grow stronger and closer to God in faith. And the reason for this is because as you are kind of born again in Christ and are advancing in your faith and becoming more knowledge of the Bible and living a God-pleasing life, you start to develop, it's almost impossible not to develop this sort of sense of entitlement for things to go your way and for things to be good because you are being good and you are being as perfect of a follower of Christ as you can be. So when things go poorly for you and disaster still strikes amidst of you kind of feeling like you're giving up things for God, and you're still getting hurt and bad things still happen, it's very much easy to be angry with God and feel like you're being ripped off and that things should be going well for you and you should be abundantly blessed because of your faith in God and your devotion to Him, and you know, you've been on your best behavior, so you think you are undeserving of these bad things and trials and tribulations coming your way. So this kind of mini sermon is meant to address those feelings, because believe it or not, there are many, many accounts in the Bible of famous and devoted followers of Christ thinking the same thing, and I'll go over just a couple of those, and then we'll address our response to that through a lens of Christ and what He has put for us in the Bible. One example I could kind of use for this, one kind of what do you call that, a metaphor, would be like in Kung Fu Panda, if y'all remember Master Shifu, when Oogway chose Po, Shifu was not so much mad at Po, and he just kind of disregarded Po, didn't take him seriously, but he was mad at Master Oogway, the, you know, wisest, most powerful one in the universe at that time in the storyline. He was mad at Oogway, Shifu was, and doubted Oogway upon his decision to make Po the Dragon Warrior. And that's kind of how it is with us. Like, Master Shifu was like a very, very proficient student under Master Oogway, and when things went not how he expected from his master, Oogway, he was a little bit resentful, a little bit angry, and was like, "What are you doing, Oogway?" And so that's kind of like what this is with us being Master Shifu, God being Master Oogway, and Poe being these unexpected, seemingly undeserved events happening to us in our life. So that's just a little, like, tiny little analogy there to preface this reading in this sermon. So I'm going to start in Jonah chapter 4. Jonah did have a moment of being very angry with God and even asking that God take his life due to God forgiving the Ninevites, whom Jonah was sent on this little wild excursion to go testify to about the Lord. And so, starting in chapter 4, but Jonah was greatly displeased and became angry. He prayed to the Lord, "O Lord, is this not what I said when I was still at home? No. That is why I was so quick to flee to Tarshish. I knew that you were a gracious and compassionate God, slow to anger and abounding in love, a God who relents from sending calamity. Now, O Lord, take my life, for it is better for me to die than to live." But the Lord replied, "Have you any right to be angry?" And then Jonah proceeds to go out and sit down at a place east of the city and pout. Then in Jeremiah chapter 15, Jeremiah, one of the most impactful prophets and priests of the Old Testament, he has a moment in Jeremiah chapter 15 where he is also lamenting to God and very frustrated with him, saying in verse 18, "Why is my pain unending, and my wound grievous and incurable? Will you be to me like a deceptive brook, like a spring that fails?" And he had some verses of complaint leading up to that. And of course, everybody who's familiar with the Bible and the Old Testament in particular knows of the Israelites complaining to God, asking them why he freed them from the Egyptians only to be brought out into the desert and suffering, and they would just complain and complain and complain. Many people raised in the church remember those little Bible lessons and stories of how the Israelites would complain a lot here and there. And Moses also got upset at God because he had to put up with those Israelites. So that is kind of like Master Shifu getting upset with Master Oogway for having to put up with Poe, kind of what Moses was doing back then in the Old Testament. So it seems we all run into struggles in our lives, and unexpected ones and ones that we feel ill-equipped to handle, with God or without Him in our lives. No getting around it. Maybe it's we lose somebody in our lives, or a relationship that meant a lot to us goes south, or we want something that seems unattainable. No matter how hard we try, it just gets further and further away, be it a goal, a person, an object, a position in life. For me, maybe I could say that's like massive notoriety in the sniping community. Who knows? Just putting that out there. And all of us tend to react various ways to that. Some people get mad at God. Some people, and this is probably best case scenario, lean into God more when they when things are going poorly for them. They pray more, and it creates more of a fervor for God in their lives. I will say that I know that's not everybody, because I am personally not like that. I tend not to get mad because I feel like I'll get smited if I get mad at God personally. Probably won't happen to you, but I don't know. I can't say whether or not that you won't get smited, but I would say that I can be a fair weather person of fair weather faith, and when things are going poorly for me, I tend to try to take things into my own hands and let myself feel too exhausted to pray or too exhausted to be in the Bible, be it physically, emotionally, or spiritually. Just feel like I don't make as much time for it when things are going rough, and I'm more so focused on the situation I'm in and how I get out of it. And I don't even mean to a lot of times. Like, it's not a resentful thing of God. It's just like I tend to get so caught up on the negativity and how to fix it than prayer and stuff. Like, I'm sure there are a lot of people that can agree with that, because I can relate to that. So
you started with it.
But anyway, bottom line, sometimes bad stuff happens, and We can get angry at God because we feel betrayed as we have been growing closer to Him and upholding His statutes for us. So, a couple things to address that and counter that. Since sin entered the world, we are promised a bad time and promised struggle. And so an analogy I'd like to use is Call of Duty. Since Call of Duty fell into mediocrity, COD has been bad. And there's good in COD here and there, but bottom line, I think everybody can agree that since post Black Ops 3, or maybe post World War II, post Black Ops 4, COD has been worse. It's been bad. And the good times we have on COD, those are the outlier. So the blessings we receive in this world, those should be what come as a surprise. Those are the outlier.
Honestly, the Barrett is
and the bad and the misery is what is supposed to be expected in this world.
Let's go!
So for instance, Cold War, not my favorite COD, skill-based matchmaking, really wishy-washy maps, but there's a satisfaction with the Tundra. Using the Tundra, it's a fun sniper to use. That's like good things happening to us in this world. The Tundra being fun. You find joy in the things and the blessings that do come your way. Those are things we should be grateful for and things we should remember when we are in the midst of our times. Just the good times. Or maybe on COD it's just being able to chat and have fun and talk with your friends and, play a game.
Ooh, that was a kill chain. No way.
Black Ops 6. Now, Black Ops 6,
on Babylon,
in the same sense that I'm telling you we're supposed to be expecting some hardships in this world, I was upset when Season 2 dropped and the snipers got nerfed. But I should expect that. The outlier was that we got the Barrett and that I was able to have fun and, crush out some clips with the Barrett initially. That's the outlier. That's the surprise. We should just expect that COD's going to keep getting worse and that there's going to be some hardships on it, like Sniper's ADS getting nerfed. So, I'm going to go here. I am going to read from where it says that in the Bible, obviously in Genesis, during the fall into sin. Genesis 3, verse 17 to 19. To Adam he said, "Because you listened to your wife and ate from the tree about which I commanded you, you must not eat of it. Cursed is the ground because of you. Through painful toil you will eat of it. All the days of your life it will produce thorns and thistles for you, and you will eat the plants of the fields. By the sweat of your brow you will eat your food until you return to the ground, since from it you were taken, for dust you are, and to dust you will return." So that pretty much sounds like the Call of Duty experience in 2025. That sums it up right there.
Bro, what did we just do, Quinn?
Toil, cursed is the ground, cursed is Call of Duty right now.
Anybody in here actually lactose intolerant?
God loves us. He still gives us blessings on COD. No matter how bad the snipers get, keep at it. But in the same way, when skill-based matchmaking entered the world in Call of Duty 2019, we should expect all CODs to have misery attached to them. So did sin enter the world during the fall into sin and the fall of man. Now we are also supposed to expect some misery and toil and hardships in real life. So Genesis 3 verse 17 to 19, you heard it here, ties into Call of Duty. Great, beautiful analogy. This is why I love quickscoping for Christ. And then we have covered that verse on the channel, by the way. And another verse we've covered on this channel before, James 1, verse 2 to 4. James being Jesus' IRL brother, the brother of his mother, or, his brother from his mother, I should say. Not brother of his mother. That would be his uncle, his unk. And this is one of my favorite verses in the Bible in general. The trials and tribulation section in James 1. Consider it pure joy, my brothers, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith develops perseverance. Perseverance must finish its work, so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything. So we can in fact be grateful for these hardships in the same way Master Oogway is thankful for Poe, because even though it took a lot to get Poe caught up as the Dragon Warrior, he was able to stop Tai Lung. And in the same way that I'm upset snipers got nerfed, but all it takes is that perseverance, having to adjust to the snipers, get better at pre-aiming. That's going to make me better at CODs that have better ADSs and build up a deeper instinct for the guns in my mind. And that can be applied to life too. You know, going through hardships and handling hardships well will make handling everything in life a lot better. So we can actually consider these hardships an additional blessing and change our outlook and our perception on reality and think of everything as a blessing, even the bad times. And then in Psalm 23 verse 4, another one of my favorite verses in the Bible, one I used in my confirmation verse. I'm going to flip to the Bible and read it directly, even though I do have this verse memorized. This is from David, and most followers of Christ have probably already heard this, but Psalm 23 verse 4, even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me, your rod and your staff, they comfort me. So talking about how God never leaves our side, and we can always find comfort in Him, even in the midst of our roughest times, and when it feels like we've got nothing, and we're staring down the barrel of a gun, God is still with us, walking by our side, taking our hand, and as long as we lean into Him, He will get us through in one way or another. Finally, ending with Hebrews 13 verse 4 to 6, one we haven't covered on this channel, and a book of the Bible that was written by Hebrew Christians, saying, "Marriage should be honored by all, and the marriage bed kept pure, for God will judge the adulterer and all the sexually immoral. Keep your lives free from the love of money, and be content with what you have, because God has said, 'Never will I leave you, never will I forsake you.' So we say with confidence, 'The Lord is my helper, I will not be afraid. What can man do to me?'" So the last point I wanted to drive home by using this verse was that sometimes the calamities that happen in our lives are actually for the greater good. Maybe something does need to be removed that we might not realize yet, or if we take some time to think about it, we can realize that in our, deepest heart of hearts, deep down in the back of our mind, we know that this hardship was good for us. For instance, following the Call of Duty example, the Barrett was so good that it was starting to become the only sniper that we hit clips with, which you can kind of see throughout this video. Deep down, I do know it's a good thing that I have an excuse to spice it up and use different snipers following the nerf. Maybe that thing that was taken was a relationship that deep down inside might not have been a, productive one, or, a habit, a goal, a destructive lifestyle. Who knows? Who knows? Not I. But you can definitely apply this to your lives. So sometimes it is for the better that you go through these hardships. Pressure makes diamonds. That's what they say. And the Holy Spirit makes better followers of Christ. So just accept that pressure when it comes to you. Accept the nerf and, get after it. Don't falter. The only way you lose is by regressing in your faith and letting negativity into your lives. So yeah, I know this was a long one, but we had a lot of clips, so might as well use that time. And we also dropped, me and QDog, and soon probably Ludicrous Leb, dropped a little teaser trailer montage using Travis Scott's 4x4 song, which is a banger. And Mr. Gucci Kennedy and E-Raider will also be joining us when the full Duality 4 montage is complete. We just pumped out this trailer, dropped it this last Friday. Make sure to go check it out, because it is a banger and it will get you hyped up for COD and for Duality 4. You're definitely going to want to see that. It's a banger. And thank you guys so much for watching. I love you guys. God bless you. Peace out. I will see you next time.